Hello, welcome back to the channel. As always, I hope you're all doing well, and I'm doing hunky-dory, thank you very much. Right, I thought Saturday night, wife's watching A Place in the Sun. I thought I'm going to give a vinyl first play. Going to be slightly different to my normal. I'm going to cut out a lot of the wiki bit. Just haven't got the time to sit and do all the editing, guys. But if you want to find out about an album, Wikipedia, that's what I did. But this album I've been wanting to do for a while, and I do think I mentioned it in my last video where I showed you the Liberty and Norton Fallgate. There was another slip in there, by the way, on the inner sleeve. I didn't have, there's so much info and it sounds amazing. So glad I got it. But as you know, I've been sort of talking about doing Madness's third album, Madness 7. Now, that's an original pressing, but like I said I was going to in the last video, voila! Well, I've got the 2021 reissue. So I thought I'll give that an open. I've removed the hype sticker and put it on the plastic. Good old-fashioned hairdryer trick. And I played this while I was in the shower this morning. And I tell you, it's one of them albums, you know, like Pepper, like Revolver, like loads of albums that you've played so many times. I knew what was coming up next, and I haven't played this album for a long time. So it was lovely to go down memory lane, but obviously I'm going to be listening to it on record, which we love. So there you go, there's the hype sticker. New liner notes from Lee Thompson, Mike Barson and Chris Foreman, which will be lovely while I'm having a play. And there we are. Love that cover. Madness 7. All the 7s this, you know. 7 of them. Well, I don't know what's on the inner, but there used to be the Magnificent 7. All things related to 7. So, shall we open it and have a little look? I mean, I've got this... When did I get this? Probably 1981, the original. I don't want to come out very easy. You know how good I am at this, don't you? Right. It really doesn't want to come out. And obviously I don't want to dent the cover. Take your time, Stripey, we've got all night. It's a beautiful thing. Apart from the barcode, but that's just standard these days. Oi, oi. Right, let's have a little butcher's in. Lovely jubbly. So there you go, that's what I was talking about. All the 7s, 7 Up, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. I used to know a lot of them. Enid Blyton's Secret 7 Adventure, the Magnificent 7 up there, all the 7s. And obviously the Take It or Leave It film. That's the very first time back in 81 that I ever see anything to do with the film. So, and now we've got the liner notes. Big 7 in the middle. I mean, the actual album is called 7, but most people know it as Madness 7. And there you go. So shall we have a little look at the record? Now this reached number 5, I think, back in 1981 in the UK album charts. Whoa. And I've got to admit, my stiff version is not like that. Whoa. Here we go with a famous pose. And there's the vinyl. Love it. Obviously, this spurred 3 singles. As we know, Cardiac Arrest, Shut Up and Grey Day. All classic Madness songs. I mean, this is the third album. I mean, they've done One Step Beyond. Fantastic. followed it up with an even probably slightly better album, although I love them both equally, absolutely. And sometimes when a band comes out, they kind of miss the third album. I don't think they did with this. And obviously followed, this was, directly after this was their very first compilation album, Complete Madness. But after that come The Amazing Rise and Fall. And I've done a vinyl first play of that, because it does work on YouTube, even though they hate me. So, what else do we know about Madness 7? Right, all but one track from this album was recorded in Compass Point Studio in the Bahamas. Apart from Grey Day, which apparently was recorded earlier in London. Although co-producer Alan Winstanley said in the 2011 A Guided Tour to Madness box set that many of the recordings was done in London when they got back from the Bahamas. So, now, there were several different versions of the album released throughout the world. I didn't even know that till I looked it up. Some territories removed the last track on here, Day on the Town, while others replaced it with Never Asked Twice, aka Aeroplane, which was issued in the UK on the B-side of the Shut Up 12-inch single, if I remember rightly. In Belgium, the single track Never Asked Twice was released as a one-sided single that came along with the original first pressings of 7. In France, they renamed Day on the Town as A Place in the City. Australia added It Must Be Love and Never Asked Twice. Spain replaced Cardiac Arrest with It Must Be Love. And Japan added In the City. And that is such a great madness. I love In the City. Which was issued as a single there and was initially written to promote city cars, which, I don't know if you know, Madness done a lot of adverts for back in 1981. This is obviously not on Stiff Records. This is the Union Square Music, released March 2021. Should we get it on the turntable? Come on in. Bloody brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed listening to this again, and I tell you, it's worth getting just for the liner notes. So good. Right, first off, the reissue sounds lovely. It needed a bit of a clean off. I don't know why they always come out. I know vinyl pressing plants ain't that clean an environment, but they should be. And obviously I put the record in a poly-lined inner now, so that'll help. But it did sound great. I'm very impressed, and like I said, it's a heavyweight, lovely and flat, brilliant. And I was surprised how well it did sound, because obviously this morning I just listened to it on my phone on a Bluetooth speaker, but yeah, really sounded lovely. So quickly go through some of the tracks and overall thoughts. First off, it starts off with Cardiac Arrest. Everyone knows that song. I mean, there's not a lot to be said about it, but it kind of struck me. It's quite a serious matter. A businessman stressing out at work and having a heart attack, and all the time they're all going, "Don't you worry, there's no hurry." I love the is it a glockenspiel that's going on it? Sounded fab, and it's a classic Madness song, followed up by Shut Up. Now, when I was reading this, Shut Up is about Song of Habitual Criminals, and it is. Yeah, I love the music video as well, I've got to say. From when the piano comes down, that massive chord at the beginning, and then that brilliant piano playing coming down. It's a wonderful story, and the video reminds me of the Keystone Cops. I think that's what they was trying to emulate. It's such a great song. Really is brilliant. Now, track 3, Sign of the Times. It probably could have been another single, and it probably would have been a hit. I think it's so good. It just moves along with such a great pace. Social commentary. Madness do it very well. Missing You. That sounded wonderful. Mrs. Hutchinson. I love that song. Mrs. Hutchinson cracks me up. Again, about a woman who's had an operation that's not gone too well, and the doctors in the song are sort of saying, you know, everything's going to be fine, and they tell their son, your mum's not going to last a week. It would have made a great music video if they'd have put one to it. And then side one ends with Tomorrow's Dream. Nothing like ska music. It's weird how Madness, people still relate to them as ska. I do myself a little bit. There's probably only one sort of ska song on here. There's a bit of flavours on some, but Day on the Town probably is the only one. They've sort of got that nutty sound. I know it's, you know, they're famous for having the nutty sound, but people sort of relate to them as ska music. This is so far removed from ska music, and Chrissy Boy even says it on here. I hate to use a Beatles comparison, but it's our Revolver album. Suddenly we were exploring more adventurous rhythms and ideas, and a lot of that was down to Mike. No more reaching for the ska bun. But Tomorrow's Dream is just all over the place, and it was when they was in the Sal, because they went out there for tax avoidance, maybe. I think Lee was doing some marijuana. I might need to read it again. It's like I saw a song about a monkey's point of view, having all the tests done on it, and he even mentions it was inspired by animal experimentation in the name of scientific progress. Sounds familiar, and it is bloody sad, really, when you think about it. It's a very haunting song when you think about it, you know. Sounded bloody marvellous. And then we flip over to side 2, and that kicks off with Grey Day, another single from Madness. From when Woody's drums go off at the beginning, it's so good. And I think it's a song about depression, really. When you listen to the words properly, you know, I think it's bloody marvellous. The way it's worded is probably one of the better songs talking about depression, probably. Then you got Packer Mac, and Lee says it's a bit like House of Fun, the coming of age and sexuality. I wear my cap with pride, wind swaying side to side. I'll leave that with you. I never picked up on that before. I read that on the notes, and obviously when you listen to the song you can sort of hear it. Bloody brilliant. Promises sounded fantastic. Benny Bullfrog does make me laugh. I mean, it's the shortest track on here, but it does sort of put a smile on your face. I bet they was having a right laugh when they done it. Again, I think when they was out in the Sal, one of them was stoned or whatever, and all of a sudden this big frog jumped up near them. Get the notes. But Benny Bullfrog sounded good. When Dawn Arrives. Now, when I was listening to it, the way Sugg sings it and the music, it had that film noir flavour about it. You know, you could sort of see an old black and white film with the cap pulled down. Sounded fantastic. Then you got the instrumental Opium Eaters, which is so far removed from Night Back to Cairo, My Girl, One Step Beyond. It's unreal, but it did sound bloody marvellous. There's so much great instrumentation on it. Literally, listen to it. I want to listen to this again with some headphones on. I'm really, because there's all stuff going on it. Amazing. And then it ends on with the not so tourist friendly, apparently, Day on the Town. Summer in London. This is the most scary one on there. It went so quick though. The album flies by. I mean, I think it's only about 34 minutes long anyway. What are your thoughts on Madness's third album? I mean, when I was listening to When Dawn Arrives and the Opium Eaters, I can hear where they're going. If you listen to some of them and then you play The Rise and Fall, which was their follow-up album, you can kind of see where they're going with this. For me, this is a classic Madness album, and it's a must-own. And I'm so glad I got the reissue. And it's only cheap. I think it was like 17 quid or something. It was really cheap. So, and it hasn't got as many cracks and pops as my original one. And the heavyweight vinyl does help. So, yeah. Absolutely over the moon with this. Love these liner notes and the extra information. It's bloody marvellous. So, highly recommended by me. The vinyl sounded nice and quiet. It was lovely and flat. and it was an absolute joy to play on record. Like I said, I listened to it earlier on my Bluetooth speaker, but it's a different experience when you're in the shower and you're singing along, washing yourself. Really, really pleased with this. So I suppose the next one that will come out now for me will be Wee Wee next month. I'll be glad to have that on record. And then I've got all of the albums. The only one I haven't got on reissue is One Step Beyond. So I might have a little poke about for that. But, do you remember when I first started doing these videos, I said, what I don't want to do is end up with multiple copies of the same album. And what am I doing? Getting multiple copies. I know. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? My Madness 7 had loads of cracks and pops. It's an old record. 1981. It's old now. But yeah, absolutely loved it. I do think Sign of the Times could have been a single. And I don't know what... It's a shame, really, because obviously It Must Be Love was put on some pressings. In the City. I didn't hear In the City. I think it was a B-side to one of them, actually. I think it might have been the B-side to Cardiac Arrest. This is all off the top of my head. But I do think it appears on Complete Madness. But again, I'd have to have another look at that. But it's such a high-energy, great song. I love it. And obviously It Must Be Love was a single. It was a single. Would have been nice to have them on there. They did bring out these CDs with a bonus with other stuff on it. Would have been nice if they'd have done that on the records. It just would have been nice as a little... But no complaints. It's a good price for an absolute solid album. And I bloody loved it. So there you go. So that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give us a thumbs up, because YouTube have shadow banned me. I know they have for some reason. So no one sees the videos that much anymore. Yeah. So with that, I think it's getting quite late now, so I'll probably edit this tomorrow. So you may see it Sunday, maybe Monday. Sorry about that, but it's getting late. And with that, you have yourself a good day, good evening, wherever you are. And I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Take care, guys.